Hello, everyone. You are in the right place if you are here for a Fetch AI session in collaboration with Consensus. Thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you so much for joining this session. I'm really excited for a session with Maria. We've known each other for a very long time, and I've been supporter of Fetch before Fetch even was a Fetch. I actually know one of the founders from long before he was a Fetch founder. So I think that it's a very, very interesting project. I think it's a very interesting solution, and it really fits into this whole concept of crossing Web3 and AI. And as you know by now, our sessions are all about interesting projects in Web3. And for the next 2 months, we are doing an AI takeover. So I couldn't help myself but invite Maria to this session. And I think it fits very well after our first session with Microsoft and the session that we did around news and updates from the ecosystem that our Clemens Wong, one from Consensus did. Now Fetch Maria will be talking about the autonomous agents and what is there beyond ChatGPT, because it seems like it's all about ChatGPT. So Maria, floor is yours. Please take it away.
Thank you so much, Marta, for the invitation. It's really lovely to be here. We're not that far away geographically, but we're now even closer now on a video. So great to be here with your audience. I'm happy to share our latest updates. We have had some even refresh, website refresh and branding refresh recently. So I'll show you guys a little bit of that, and I will take you to some of our examples that can now be found on the website and on our new Agentverse, which we have launched recently as well. So let me share. First, I'll take you through some PowerPoint and some slides just to explain that, and I will then try to combine that with some demos that I can show today. We still have some really exciting things to show in the hopefully very near future. So maybe next time we catch up, there will be even more to show, but I think this is maybe a good start just to get people thinking in this new way, and perhaps get some ideas and then questions maybe for our future sessions. So if I can start with this. Again, thanks for the invite. My name is Maria Minarikova. I'm the Director of Business Development at Fetch AI. I have been here with the company from the very beginning, maybe a few months later as a very beginning, but yeah, for more than 5 years. We're based in Cambridge, UK. However, we have employees and supporters and participants all over Europe and actually around the world as well. So here, let me start. So there has been a lot of talk about AI. Actually love it. ChatGPT has given us a good opportunity to really look into that and see what can be done in AI, how that can be relatable a little bit more to us humans. So at Fetch, we have been talking also about agents and AI agents from the start, and it's been a bit of a challenge to explain that. It was a bit, less concrete. So AI, so agents or multi-agent systems are actually a subset of AI. They have been studied for a number of years, for I think over 20 years. We have been working closely with Cambridge University and Oxford University on these topics and have done some work with them on research and also actually then on some practical examples. And I'll talk a little bit about one of them today. But what are agents? So agents are, we consider them as software agents. They act on behalf of their owners to achieve goals or economic activity. We are really trying to focus on the economic activity, which then combines well with the Web3 concept. So agents, we're thinking of them as autonomous and goal-oriented. They can be modular. We have built agent frameworks that allow that modularity. They are flexible. They can respond to changes dynamically, and they are multi-stakeholder. So this is not, one platform where you can think, all the agents are there on the platform. Agents are actually, they can represent you, they can people, machines, IoT devices, and they're really decentralized, distributed. So they are my own agent. I can have my own agents. You can think of your agents. You own the data, you own your agent, and all of that. So that then combines with the Web3 concepts, which are also about decentralization, about having multi-stakeholders in the system in large heterogeneous ecosystems. So these two multi-agent systems and the Web3 concepts, they combine very well. And then they allow this peer-to-peer communication, peer-to-peer transactions, and so on.
So
Yeah.
just to clarify here, can I have multiple agents, or is it like,
Yeah.
is an agent my digital representation of myself, or is it more kind of representation of a particular part of that? So like, can a car have 2 or 3 agents, one representing I don't know, their battery, the other one representing their driving or something like that? How does that work?
So I think it could have both. We are at the moment working on some interesting projects. In Germany, one of them is Move ID. And there we are placing agents in a car. They have an identity, self-sovereign identity. They own the data that is produced in the car, and then can communicate with other agents. But I suppose you could have like a multi-agent, also perhaps maybe within your house. You can think of that, right? Like the different devices in your house. So you have a washing machine, you have a electric heater or some other things. They could have like a mini agents that can be then represented by a house agent, right? So the various IoT devices in the house can be, some small agents trying to optimize your house activities, but then towards the outside, they wouldn't necessarily need to communicate towards the outside, but there would be like one representative house agent then communicates and maybe tries to get you better energy prices or other things. And we have actually, this is a really good question, because we have done some work and some examples with some companies as well, where they were thinking about optimizing their internal production with the agents, and that's achievable. But then the company probably wants to have one agent that represents it as a company, and that agent then communicates with other companies, with the agents from other companies. So the agent, this is really all about agent architecture, and there are no fixed rules like this is how you have to do it, that's how you have to do it. It's really about trying it out and really then thinking like, what is the purpose, what is it that you're trying to achieve, and then having your architecture, your agent architecture based on that. So it's flexible. This is the nice thing. It's flexible. There is no like set rules like this is how you have to do it. It's really about trying to optimize the number of interactions between the agents, trying to optimize the flow, the frequency, and all of that. So there is no one size fits all, as we could say, but it's really about trying to find the optimum that works for you.
Nate is asking, are there agents that will help me be more productive in everyday life?
That's the whole aim. That's what we're trying to achieve, right? If we can put agents on various devices, we can use LLMs, so large language models, to speak with these agents and then have them then go and achieve the goals that you want. That's what we're really trying to achieve. So you can think of, for example, a travel agent, right? So it used to be in the older times, and still it's still true that if you want to go on some holidays, you would go to a travel agency. There would be people sitting there, they would have all these various big books with holidays, hotels and houses in different locations. Then they would have another book, how you get there in the old days. So that has then transformed. It's been digitalized and put on various websites. Each hotel now has a website. Then the airlines have their own websites. Then what happened? Then you had to go to all these different websites to find the hotels and so on. So we kind of got sometimes, I think, rid of the agencies, like the people. But what has happened was, so this was digitalized. But then what happened was, then you had to go to too many websites. So then all of a sudden, then we had aggregators, right? So we have like booking.coms, Skyscanners, but still, still there are, several aggregators even then. What then happened was that the aggregators then started charging, to be part of booking.com, they charge between 15 and 30% of the fees from the hotels and so on. So they're helping in some way us as users, but they're also then dictating in a way the way the business is done, right? They have their own rules, and this is what happens with all of the aggregators, right? It's not just booking.coms, it's aggregators in other types of businesses, like Amazon, right? So I love shopping at Amazon, it's easy, but then they dictate the business, they dictate with products, sometimes I guess even the prices and so on. And so what we're now saying is that, hey, how about we, put an agent on, we can now put agents that we have built through the framework that we are providing. You can put an agent on any API. So you can have an API represented by an agent. So information, really, microservices on the websites, other websites, and you can have that, you can take that information, you can make it available, and then you can find the right type of, say, your holidays, not by going to a person, but really just defining what is your right holiday, setting your agent up, and then basically combing through all that information that is already available online, and then just finding the right, hotel. If you want to go, I don't know, Cyprus, you want to stay or Italy, stay 500 meters from the beach and have a 2-bedroom apartment with a balcony. It's probably going to be, I mean, you could probably do it as a person, but it will just take you hours, right, to find that, in the right hotel and all of these things, and all the various websites that are available. So this is why you need a digital assistant that can then do that work for you while you're sleeping, while you're doing other fun things, doing sports or what, and your agent is basically finding that it's a computer program that is then finding the right things from you based on your inputs and your preferences. So that's how we see digital agents, and they can be set up for, travel things. Also, you can think of it like, let's say I'm looking to renew my energy prices, right? And now, at least here in the UK, you have several providers, all the terms, you have to read through all the terms, you have to calculate all these things. So that's another job that I could see, an agent doing for me. So going through the various available information and finding it based on what I would like to have. Or another one that we are trying to explore in the mobility space with the partners that we have been working with is, if your car had an agent, and then let's say you're driving through Europe, you have a EV, electric vehicle, and then that vehicle can find your charging spots. As we know, while you're charging, it usually takes 15, at least 15, but usually 30 and plus minutes. Maybe you want to then have a lunch, and you want to have a lunch in a certain restaurant because, you have, I don't know, preferences for Italian food or Chinese food or anything else. If you have children with you, you want to find an EV charger next to a particular restaurant, but also have a playground nearby, right? And these kinds of things. So we are, proposing that if agents can represent these heterogeneous participants in the ecosystem, they can each, still be in charge of their own data and their own identities and everything, but they can meet together and interact together in this independent peer-to-peer way, and they can transact that way as well. And so ideally, this would really make our lives easier, and we would have time for other things that are fun to do.
Very cool.
Okay, so yeah,
if you want to go to the next slide, and then there are a couple of more questions that popped up, but I'll let you continue.
give you some more information. So I won't go into technical details, but here's just a little bit of architecture. So we have built a couple of different frameworks. One is for autonomous economic agents. This is a large, big framework. And most recently this year, we have started building a quicker to adapt or quicker to learn a micro agent framework. And with the value proposition that it's language and platform agnostic. So these are really the ideals. And basically here you can see that we are the microagent technology with that we're providing really the basics. So just some technical terms here, but we're really then allowing users to come with their logic to connect external wallets as they wish. And really, so we just provide, so one of my colleagues actually, this is why it looks like a cake, because we said we just give you the basic layer, but then the icing, the nice stuff, you actually get to put it on it yourself. So we're not doing it for you. We're then allowing you to, while you have the basic from us, you can then find the other agents but how you interact with them, how what you agree, what kind of economic terms, that is up to you. So here's maybe a little bit more. So so if you have an agent can have an AI layer. Here, you have different companies that are already providing AI solutions, so they can build these agents with their AI solutions, like IBM, Bosch. There is a Hugging Face on AWS. But we have been, for example, working with Cambridge University, and one of the agents that I want to demonstrate, not today, but at some later point, I have one slide on that. So that agent was actually built using their algorithms. So it's a delivery prediction agent, delivery prediction algorithm, and we put an agent on around that algorithm. And basically now we allow querying that using natural language, querying that agent, and finding, if I want to have information about certain product, is that product, if I order it and I give it certain parameters, is it going to be on time, late, or very late? So here, this is quite interesting, right? Where then, all these different AI capabilities that are, being built by universities or different companies, they can be pretty much opened up and put on a market. And then you are going to be allowed or able to query different agents representing different algorithms in a way that has not been done before, right? So going back to the agent, agent and how interoperable that is. So that's what we're really trying to achieve, that it's language and technology agnostic, that you can set up any kind of payment that you like. So, Stripe, we have demonstrated last week integration, I think, with MasterCard, but also software wallets. So you can use our Fetch AI software wallet. You can use other software wallets as well. Last week, we had a really nice demonstration at the IAA conference in Munich. We have shown that you can have a Mobix. It's one of the projects that is building on Fetch Network. You can use a Mobix wallet, and in it you had FET, you had Mobix, you had Peak tokens as well. The agent was basically choosing which of the tokens to use for the particular transaction. Then again, SSI, different SSI implementations. We had used last week. We used one from Peak. But there's also ID Union, and there's others out there that are providing that. Blockchain, we are blockchain agnostic in a way that when you create your own agent, you register that agent on the Fetch network to be found this is like the largest smart contract marketplace. But after that, what you do with your agent, how you set it up, whether it will use for settlement, for financial settlement, whether it will use Fetch or Polkadot or Ethereum or other blockchains, this is also possible. Again, that's something we demonstrated last week, where the agents were in the vehicles, but they were actually settling on the Polkadot-based Peak network, right? So this is then quite interesting, because what we're really trying to do is open up the ecosystem. and allow the agents to be represented on different blockchains, on different technological space, Web2, representing different Web2 UIs or APIs really, so different data from different websites and so on. And another really important thing that the agent, and I think this will be really interesting to a lot of Web3 fans, is really data sovereignty. So you can build your agent in a way that you can put them on your computer. You can use your own cloud. You can integrate with other clouds that are currently available. We are also setting up agent services, hosting services, but also others should be able to come and say, here, there will be hosting that we can offer. Set up your agent, you can host it with us, and so on. So what we're really trying to do is open up the ecosystem, make it interoperable with other blockchains, with other payment systems, and allow others to build their AI logic into your own agent, and have it really have the data sovereignty there to protect your own data. Maybe it will make a little bit more sense even down further. Like, I have a few more slides here that what I want to show you. So we're coming to what we're really trying to do at Fetch. And our vision is to build this open platform for building smart autonomous services, AI services, right? And so I have mentioned I've been talking about agents. So we have built these agent frameworks, but we also have Fetch AI network that can be used, and we are using it for coordination and economic settlement. We have also built a couple of AI and ML tools. We had discussed those previously in some other webinars. They're for coordinating federated learning among several participants. And then we have also several Web3 tools for development of these peer-to-peer apps. And here, I think this is probably one of the most interesting slides I have here today. So our Fetch stack. Why it's interesting, and actually these are new slides, so I think you're having a premiere with these slides. Most of them have not been shown. So what we have revealed about a week ago now, we have launched a new website where we talk about our products and having an AI engine. So what we're building is really a platform or a way that you can communicate with your agents using large language models. The aim is then that there's that interaction using natural language, and we are building an AI platform that then breaks that down into like technical elements, but then we basically find through that natural language model, we actually go out and find the right agent for you. Let's say I use this example at the beginning of a vehicle traveling, and looking for EV chargers. So, we want to make it as easy as almost as ChatGPT. And I have an example actually of ChatGPT where you can now say, let me just switch to that. So let me just stop this sharing and then switch to another. Sharing. Can you see this ChatGPT?
Oh, no, not yet.
Not yet.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there we go.
Right.
And you're like, as you're talking about it, I think it's worth noting there is a note that it's slightly confusing. Is the agent an LLM interface with a connected set of permissions so it can automatically execute searches, code, and personal actions? Like, I think that still understanding the agent concept is something that we can dive deeper into.
Yeah, we will come back to that. So here's an example. So I've started with ChatGPT and how we all like it. I like it. I've used it. I think we're all quite surprised by how easy it is to use. So here's an example, right? So to ChatGPT, I write, imagine that you drive, Jaguar from Stuttgart to Munich, and you need to be in Munich at a certain time. and your battery is, at 50% capacity, and you haven't booked a hotel, so that means you're driving back, right? And so ChatGPT then, and you say, propose the most efficient way to drive to your meeting, and propose some stops for charging an EV. As I've said, you probably need to go to a restaurant or do something else. So let's say you are a vegetarian, right? So here then ChatGPT goes and it says the most efficient way is to take the Autobahn. It's approximately, this distance in this time, and it gets it right most of the time. And here, the important note, but it doesn't book it for you, right? So ChatGPT is a large language model, and it goes and it's processed so much information, so it's able to basically give us this kind of prediction. It's using this particular model, so it even selects, certain model. This is the unpaid version. Right, but it doesn't book any EV charging for me. It doesn't book the restaurant. It doesn't even really find, I think, the real restaurant, right? So it doesn't do this execution. So what we're saying is that if we now have the possibility, or if we deploy agents on the various EV charging stations in the restaurants and so on, and we actually go and speak with these agents in a similar way like this, say, I want to go, to place XYZ, find me a charging and find me a restaurant and book it for me, right? So that's the main difference. And that's what we're trying to achieve. And here, one other example, why this is also not ideal, is it says, at least for our example here, it's I said I have a Jaguar, but it's actually sending me to one of the forced Tesla superchargers. So, and again, it's because it's using a certain AI model, which is actually really great, but it doesn't cover everything, and that's good. That's actually really good. So imagine that you're coming to Cambridge. I imagine that ChatGPT probably doesn't know everything about the parking in Cambridge or EV charging. And that's actually great, because if it did, I think it would just be a little bit too scary. It would know too much. So what we're saying is that, if we put agents on all these various, machines, places representing parking or charging and other things, then we can find them using natural language. So we don't have to go and be coding, but the agents can be then found and can be, you find the right agent. You find the right agent using the right, right AI model, which is not necessarily just ChatGPTs. But if you come to Cambridge, Cambridge City Council could create, an AI model that is representing parking places. And it could say, well, if you come on the weekend and it's a nice weather, you probably want to start going to the city at 10 o'clock, because by 11, all the parking lots are booked out, right? So you're basically then querying somebody else's AI model, which is not ChatGPT's or not some certain platform, but a local AI model that is necessary for your local information and for your local actions. Then another agent can find you the local charging places and so on, the local restaurant. So that's what we're trying to get to, something like this, right? Where agents are put in use. Here, there is lots of data already available. So good, smart companies go build AI models. Big companies, small companies, anything, right? And then these couple of these Axiom and Coloran are actually fetch AI platforms as well. And then these models, you can say there could be a models marketplace. But I think what's more interesting is actually the inferences, so the predictions marketplace. So then my agent would go and find me the right prediction from whichever one or some other model that it finds. And then it goes and autonomously executes that. So books me the parking place, or books me the charging or restaurant, or, books me tickets to a theater, right? And then settles the transaction, can do it on the Fetch network, can do it on other networks, and then learns from that, right? So the agents you can set them up, they can have reinforcement learning, and so they learn and they become better. So over time, your agent then can learn from the interactions, from the environment, and so on. And what I was saying before, so let me just go back here, is that we are currently building this top layer. We are building this middle layer as well of agent services, and we have already provided this bottom layer. So on the bottom, you can think of that as this open marketplace with smart contract. This is based on Fetch network. Agents can register there, and then they can be found. Here, what I've mentioned before, we are building services. One of our services will be hosting service. I can show this to you now as well. You can set up your agents now already on this Agentverse. Then they can be found. There are different kinds of tools as well that can be used, and so on. And really the top layer will be this AI layer, where we are building, this AI engine, which will use foundational LLM and AI frameworks to break down the tasks that we're speaking in a natural language, and really routing these tasks to the relevant agents.
So would you say that agents are a little bit like AI oracles? Like in the blockchain world, we talk about oracles providing information from real world into that on-chain world, and it does feel like agents are a bit like that, but it's more two-way rather than just input information. It can also kind of take information out and interact with it.
That's a really good question. And yes, you can set up agents as oracles, and you can already do that. And we actually have some examples of that already. So here's our new Fetch AI website, which you can explore. It's there. You can see what we're building. Here's the information about the product, the new product platforms, this AI engine. If you click learn more, you can learn a little bit more also about the technical parameters, and we will be releasing even more soon. There are developer docs, the core concepts, and so on. But what I wanted to show you is that if you go to the main page and then you go try Agentverse, it opens it up for you. I need to move my cursor away. Here, I've already signed in. But you can, you need to sign in for the time being just with Gmail. So if you have a Gmail account, I think most people have Gmail accounts. So anyway, here I have manage agents. So you sign in, and you can go to the manage agents, and then you can create your own agents. You can create it, you can give it a name. If you don't know how, that's okay, not a problem. So you can go to the use cases. We have several use cases that help you basically set up your first agents. Here's your first agents. Here's how you can send messages between the agents, how you store the data, requesting data from websites, sending tokens, and so on, or oracles. Here's one oracle. I think this one is using a price feed. But I have I call them my agents. They're not my agents, but my nice colleagues created them for me. So smart services is where we will put several service related agents, and I have several agents that represent weather, and they show different kinds of things that you can do with the agent. So here's a weather agent. If you click on it, it will launch one agent. So I've already done it several times, so that's why I have a bunch of weather stuff here. Let me open this last one. So here is how little information you need to have for an agent to be connected to an API, right? And to be actually bringing you that information, that service from that website. So we're using this API from OpenMeadow. We're using it because it's free. There's no API key needed. And basically, so we have this little bit of code. If you change, you can run it at home. You can try it out. If you change the latitude and longitude and the hour at which you want the information, and then it will basically get it for you from that, for your different locations. So, but I'm using this location for a while, and here you can see my logs. So if you scroll down, you actually have the agent logs. So here's some information from July. This is why I keep using that same agent. So I can show these other examples when I run it. So I go to the top, I say run, and then basically that agent starts running. And this is this is the hosting platform that I've mentioned that we are building. And here, what happens, there is a limitation of several, I don't know, 1,000 tokens. When that runs out, then you need to pay. And then, so we have set it up as a free service. So that's why this particular message. But yeah, let's see. So I think we've run out of the tokens for now, but you can try it out. I think in the mornings or whenever it gets reset, then you can start using it. And you asked me about Oracle. So one of the examples that and this is not an Oracle, right? So this is the agent is registering at the beginning in a smart contract, so it can be found. But this information that it receives is not an Oracle information because it doesn't get stored in the smart contracts. It's just there on a display, right? What you do with it is up to you. So that's why we have more of these examples. So I have another example, a data provider and a data consumer. So here is a pair of agents. So there's two. So if I click this button, it launches two agents. And one is saying, here's the data, and the other one says, can I have it? Can I have it, right? So, and they exchange the data. Here's another example, and you can click them now. You can explore them at home, who's watching along with me. So here's another pair of agents, and here it's the same weather API. One agent is saying basically, here's the weather data, and this is how much it costs, and the other one is saying, yeah, I want it. And you can change the price. So they're very basic agents. There's not much logic really, but these are just to show you what's coming and what you are able to already now set up. And here's the Oracle weather, right? So here, when you launch it, again, you're gonna have one weather provider, and the other agent basically gets that data and then puts it on the blockchain, on the fetch. We created a smart contract to keep this weather information there. So why are Oracle interesting as agents? So they're really, quite easy to set up. You can explore the code. Here's the Oracle provider agent. And my colleagues did a really good job. My technical colleagues, we actually have explanation, right? So what the agent does, that here it deploys Oracle contract and periodically updates its value. Here's explanation about the code, right? So there's a fee, right? And all these kinds of things. So I would really encourage you guys who are a little bit more technical to have a look through these examples that we have in these templates. We have more examples also on our GitHub, which then those will allow you to set up agents on your computer. So these you don't have them on the computer; they're in our hosting environment and so on. So you can try either or both, right? So anyway, so going back, why it's interesting to have these agents as oracles, as you know, when you take the data from the real world and put it on the blockchain, then you can use it later. So for example, weather data, right? So or temperature data, you can store it as an oracle. And then specifically, like during manufacturing process, that actually has quite a bit of influence on the variability of the products being produced. So it really is important to, for example, monitor the weather in the production and so on. And then you can have other AI processes that are then monitoring, the variances of your production. And so these are quite interesting things that we have been working on or, working with. And now you can use them. You can set up the oracles as agents, so it's quite easy. And then you can then take that information by other agents and use it for your predictions or use it, in other setups. So hopefully that makes it a little bit more interesting and a little bit more understandable. So just to talk a little bit more. So on our website, we explained this, but so we have actually done already several integrations with some of the interesting websites and APIs that we were able to get to. We've done some with Skyscanner, so looking at the flights. We have some more agents that we're building. We'll hopefully be able to release at some point soon. But also interesting integrations with WhatsApp, Google has already lots of APIs, so we have some parking agents connecting to Google APIs and so on. And I mentioned this one delivery prediction algorithm agent that we have built for demo purposes. I won't be able to show it to you today, but hopefully the next time when I can actually show you a little bit more of the other platform that we're building. Why is that all interesting? Because you can have a lot of integrations now. So I've mentioned few, but here what we demonstrated last week is that with this really open platform access for anyone can build an agent. We've had colleagues from Peak. It's a company that is focusing on EV charging, and IoT devices, and so we have demonstrated, and they are on the Polkadot ecosystem. They have built several agents. They've integrated them, and then so they have built their own apps. We have shown this also with the Mobix, with our Mobix partners, that they have actually had a Mobix app. In the Mobix app, they had Mobix tokens, FET tokens, and Peak tokens, which were all used for the demonstration for various things within the demonstration, and basically that agent was then able to in the wallet to move to use the appropriate tokens for the appropriate actions. So you can build your own custom apps. You can think of more services that you would be able to, other companies would be able to provide to build on top of this. I mentioned we're doing the whole agent hosting and various services like a mailbox and search and others. Others can build that as well. So we'll be providing those APIs for those kinds of integrations. You can bring, others can bring their own custom AI models, algorithms, and so on. And most importantly, you can build even with the stack, the tech stack that we're setting up. You can build different custom UIs on top of it, and basically build that into a platform that you wish to show in the way you wish to show. So we think that this is really an interesting value proposition, and it's really quite open. And that's why we're, now really excited. I'm super excited because I've been talking about agents and AI and blockchain for 5 years. And now we actually have things that we can really show. People can download them. The micro agents are much easier to use and quicker to deploy. And so I'm really excited about also about the fact that ChatGPT came and told us what everything LLMs can do. So now we're building that into our solution as well. Why is this interesting? So huge potential for the mobility space. So we have a couple of projects we're working on in the mobility space. We can vehicle to vehicle communication, vehicle to X, so parking, charging, and so on. These agents, we have deployed them on IoT devices. They can be deployed there. They can represent various services. So there is a really large potential in the ecosystems like smart cities, other places where there is a lot of heterogeneous players. So there won't be one platform, closed Web2 platform that will, be capturing all of this. So we have seen that, when you look at the OEMs, there's not one car provider that is joining somebody else's platform. So the system is really heterogeneous. And as such, that's why we're really, using the Web3 to really keep that open, we're not setting it up as a Web2 platform, but really keeping it open using the Web3 tools and the Web3 blockchain system. So then anyone can register. But what you do afterwards, what kind of services you offer, as I mentioned, then the applications can be built on top of that. So I think this is really cool. And I've mentioned we have done several POCs already in the mobility space, in the travel. We're working on some interesting supply chain demonstrators. And again, the agents have a really interesting value proposition. They have the real-time information that is currently available They work with that. They have the intelligence to analyze it and are really able to make the dynamic adjustment. So this is the one big difference comparing to the AI systems that are like the legacy AI systems that have been built, say for the past few months or years, usually build a certain algorithm, and that algorithm is just there and it doesn't get updated, right? So agents, are able to then make these dynamic updates and adjustments, and I think that is really what will be super useful going forward. So why use agent technologies? I've mentioned the decentralized ownership. Everybody can own and control their own agent. So we call them fetch agents, but they're not ours. They're always yours. They will be yours. Set them on your computer. Go to our GitHub. Just build an agent. You only need to register it. But it's registering in a Web3 way in a smart contract, and then go and use your agent. I mentioned they're learning, they're smart, they can learn from interaction. That will allow then personalized experience. So basically your agent should become your assistant, your digital assistant. Privacy and data sovereignty is very important to us. I personally don't really like to sign up to all these different platforms. I try to minimize the number of apps, but it's unfortunately at the moment it's just so difficult. So every time I use a different airline provider, I have to download a different app, sign up, give them my name, give them my credit card, right? So ideally we would try to build a future where there's just your self-sovereign identity. You don't have to give out all your data, all your private information, just what is necessary, and only to when it's necessary. I mentioned interoperability. This is one of the biggest things I think with the agent. So we've demonstrated the blockchain interoperability. Other platforms can be integrated and so on. And then there is that allow all of these components then allow really for the peer-to-peer communication and peer-to-peer transactions. And not to say save the best for the last. So we have built and launched Fetch AI Foundation this year, together with Bosch, which is one of our key industrial partners. And what we're really looking to do is to build, to look at these innovative new technologies and really take them forward and really build solutions around them. So we're looking for other large and small industrial partners that we can work with, who are interested in this kind of future that has self data sovereignty, that basically subscribes to the goals and to the principles that we are we believe in. And so I just would like to just point that out, and we're looking really to grow the ecosystem going forward. We have had some really interesting demonstrations last week, showing all of these interesting ideas and technologies that they work. We have done that with our MoveID project in Germany, but we are really looking to bring more companies and build the decentralized future together. And I think that concludes. And so if you now have questions, hopefully that will be more explained.
Yeah, there are some questions. I think that some of them have been answered by your presentation already, but one question was, why a specific agent in one industry versus a broader agent that manages multiple specialities? Is it to reduce privacy leakage and segregate permissions of agents, or?
So you can build your agent as you wish. They can be super simple or complex. So it's not to say they can only be for one industry, for another. I'm just giving examples that are already currently available, that we have demonstrated that they work. So it's not just a PowerPoint presentation that I'm giving you now, but last week we were actually showing it on an app. These agents, how they were interacting within the ecosystem. The vehicle was looking for parking and charging, places, and booked them, and then there was the transaction actually happened on the network. So like I said, you can think of travel agents, you can think supply chain, you can think mobility, smart cities, I would say even house. So anywhere where you have a number of different companies that are coming together, providing different hardware or software solutions. Because I don't think what we will see is one company that will all of a sudden become a hyperscaler like Amazon has become, but for mobility, I just don't think it's going to happen, or for supply chain, right? Because if that company did somehow exist, then they would control all of that information. Anyone who was signing into that company to use that, use the services would then, I think that just doesn't really work. So really, multi-agent systems are best placed in a large heterogeneous ecosystems where everybody wants to represent themselves and communicate with the other participants, players in that ecosystem directly, rather than through some other platform.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And kind of a question that I'm actually also very curious about. Raj was saying that purchase of information of users and travel patterns are now held closely by Web2 companies. Does the agents prevent it and finally release the control of my information to me?
So what you, okay, sorry. So is this about the travel companies?
Yes, and is a lot of those informations when it comes to booking, when it comes to booking hotels, booking flights, and so on. That's kind of like the bread and butter of Booking.com and Kayak and so on.
So ideally the hotels would have agents themselves, right? So at the moment we provide these integrations because we want to demonstrate that you can actually access various kinds of information online because it's there. But ideally, a hotel would have their own agent and just communicate directly with the users. Rather than going through these platforms, airline company should have an agent and should provide that information. So what we're saying is that, in the future, there won't be a need or a much smaller need for these aggregators. And really what that will allow is to remove that fee that is now being, taken from the aggregators because they're then providing that service of giving you that information. But, ideally, there will be a way where we can find the right agents, using AI, using the smart and using the context from which the user, with which the user is coming into the platform, but using that context and then helping you then find the right agents for you to work with afterwards. So then that interaction can become peer-to-peer, and then you own your data. The airline company then, doesn't have that information about you, but only through the privacy preserving, communications can interact with you.
Yeah. Where does Fetch Network position on the decentralization spectrum?
We have we have validators, so it's decentralized. I think we have about 70 validators. They can be found on our on the website. So there's a list of them. There's also a list. So when you download the wallet, you will be able to then stake with the various validators, so you can see which ones there are. You can see, all that information is publicly available. So just like, any other blockchain. So hopefully that answers your question.
No, I think that does answer your question. And Krishma is asking if there are any plans to allow accessing Agentverse through other wallets besides Fetch Wallet, but I believe you do integrate with MetaMask and Mobix and some others.
Yeah, so what I explained, sorry, I need to find the right. So what I've explained is that, you can set up the agents, doing anything. You need to have a little bit of Fed because they need to register, on our on the Fetch network initially, but after that, and for that, you need the tokens. But after that, how they do the transactions and so on, you can use others. You can use other wallets. You can set up, use other tokens for settling on different blockchains.
It's very, very cool. So I guess last question for me, because we're running out of time, is what's the thing in general, like not only on Fetch Universe, but in general, AI meets Web3 meets IoT. What's like the one thing that you're really looking forward to?
I would actually love to see this more really put out in practice. So having some other companies who come and really want to explore this. So I still feel like there's in the traditional industry, there's still this old thinking. And I just wish that some of the companies were a bit more, faster thinking and acting. There are some leaders that we are working with, and it would be really great if others could sort of try to embrace the innovation a little bit faster. So yesterday I actually watched the Apple event. So Apple launched new phone, new watch, and some other things, right? And I was thinking, Apple did such a really good job with the innovation. So they took a phone, which was only a device, hardware, that was, nothing. And then they have transferred it so much, just completely out of the box thinking. So before it was just a device that allowed us, to speak. Now, it does everything else. You use it. They have launched such a cool features, really good camera. So now they're not talking about a phone as, I can call you, but they're saying, hey, my phone can, take an awesome picture. You can make videos with it. You can do so many other things. And I'm not even talking about all the apps, right? So what I would really love to see is that some of the industrial other companies are just really thinking out of the box, because the future can be so and will be so different, 5 years from now, when we have even more powerful devices in our pockets than we have today. The opportunities are just so tremendous, and putting a little bit of little agents on your devices, IoT devices, and hardware and other things, it will allow so much. So this is where the future is going. We will have the hardware, even not 5 years. We will have it, much sooner. If you look at what your Apple Watch or other watches and phones are doing. So we have the hardware, we have the software. I just would like to see how companies really embrace this, because it's coming. The change is going to come very soon. And the creative ones, the ones thinking out of the box, and the innovative ones, they will win. So I just do hope that we still have some of the old players with us as well, because they have been doing interesting things and providing stability. It's just time to move forward and take the next step to the Web3 world, combining it with AI. So it's not just Web3, it's really these bringing these new technological advances together. That excites me, and I think it's going to come sooner than we expect. So I do hope that we will bring many of our industrial partners there together.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Maria, especially taking a call that late in your day. And I am very much looking forward to chatting with you more. I hope you all found it very interesting as well. We will be putting it up on YouTube, the recording, and hopefully Maria can share the slides as well, so we could put up the slides. And I am looking forward to seeing you all next month on October 11th, I believe, for our next Web3 Wednesday. Thank you,
Thank you.
guys. Have a good night.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Marta. See you later.